I want to start by asking you this. You speak to Trump supporters all over the country. Do you feel like his supporters are getting dumber by the day? Or are these the same supporters he had 6-7 years ago and they just don't change? They can't name policies. You have conversations with these people every day. Have they changed at all? Are they just as stubborn as they were years ago? Like, give me your thoughts on that.
Well, it's pretty clearly an intentional dumbing down. It's an intentional top-down movement to dumb down Americans, not only coming from Donald Trump and the MAGA people in Congress, but also there's a pipeline where like a rumor will start on TikTok or Facebook. That rumor will blow up on Twitter, and then the New York Post picks it up, and then Fox News, and then Trump boosts it, and then Sinclair injects it into the homes of millions of American people. The Haitian immigrant story, for example, or the Haitian migrant story. So I think that it's the information landscape is so poisoned by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans around him that people don't know who to trust. And maybe I'm being too charitable. I think a lot of these people are just racist and vile. But I've talked to a lot of people, I'm sure you have too, that just don't understand. They couldn't name the 3 branches of government.
Right.
Nevertheless, like a Trump policy or name what Trump is doing. So we definitely have a civics problem in this country. And something else I talk about on my show a lot is you can't expect Americans to know what Trump did was wrong if they don't understand the underlying civics. So if somebody doesn't understand the electoral college, how are they supposed to understand Donald Trump's fake slate of electors? We're asking too much of them. So we need this fundamental education before we teach people that, hey, the president can't leverage his position over Raffensperger like that.
Good point. Let's go back to Springfield, Ohio here for a moment. The excuse that MAGA Republicans seem to be making now is that, well, these bomb threats didn't take, they weren't phoned in from the United States of America. It was other countries, as if that somehow makes it any better. Like, would you want your kids, if I know you're young, I don't have kids, but would you want kids to have to deal with a bomb threat and you think it'll make them feel any better? Oh, don't worry about it. This wasn't done in this state or in this country. These bomb threats were made overseas. You're totally fine. Like, that's the new excuse from the MAGA right, and it makes absolutely no sense to me.
That almost makes it even worse because that means the former president and his new running mate directly, their rhetoric led directly to a foreign bomb threat on a small city in Ohio, multiple towns like Dayton, Ohio, for example, too. The mayor and the sheriff both came out and said, we're trying to unite the town, and the rhetoric of certain politicians is not helping. They didn't name the politicians, but it's very clear who they're talking about. So yeah, that almost makes it worse. It reminds me of January 6th, the way that you can draw the direct line from Donald Trump's rhetoric to these on-the-ground violent actions. The same thing with Springfield, Ohio. You have Haitian migrants who were there legally, by the way, under a federal program, hiding their children, not sending their children to school. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is completely crazy. You're absolutely right. You did kind of mock the fact that Donald Trump called Nicky Jam hot, which I watched that video that you put up. It's pretty funny. And then all of a sudden, Nicky Jam now is not supporting Donald Trump, or at least he took all that stuff down. I mean, can you find a more embarrassing moment when you have somebody with a huge following, you're on a stage, you're calling him, you think that he is a she, say that he is hot, really, and then you notice in that moment, oh, wait, it's a dude. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. Could you imagine if Kamala Harris did something like that? Republicans would never, you'd never hear the end of it from Republicans.
Oh, yeah, and the mainstream media. I mean, there's a massive double standard where even the mainstream media would be like, is this a sign of some sort of decline? But no, I mean, I don't care whatever way Trump swings. It's just funny that he can't get these names right. He clearly thought it was Nicki Minaj, I'd say. But it's just a funny moment because also, when Taylor Swift came out and endorsed Kamala, all these Republicans were like, wow, if you vote based on a celebrity, you're so dumb. You shouldn't have the right to vote. Celebrity endorsements mean nothing. And now Trump is taking these like F-tier celebrities and trying to boost them. It's hilarious.
Yeah, like Hulk Hogan. Just look at the Republican National Convention, Adam.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock, Dana White, the wife beater. I mean, it really is. It really is incredible. Speaking, I would put this woman in this category, Laura Loomer. I just want to get your thoughts on this. We had Milo on the show the other day, and Milo making the claim that Laura Loomer has been telling her close friends that she performed sex acts on Donald Trump in the plane. And now we're learning, apparently, allegedly, she's banned from going on Trump's plane. She's banned on, going to Mar-a-Lago. What do you make of this Laura Loomer stuff?
I'm generally the last person to jump onto speculation. So, for example, both during the first first and second attempted assassination on Donald Trump, I went live and I had to tell my audience, stop the conspiracy theories, stop saying it was staged. I remember the first one, they were saying there are blood capsules, and I said, stop saying that. So my broader point is here, I am never one to jump on a speculation or conspiracy theories. I try to stay grounded with the official reports. That being said, when I see some of these photos with Trump and his arm wrapped around Loomer, my instincts tell me this is a man who is in the last stage of his political career. This is a man who, I don't know the word, not playboy, because that makes it seem like the women like it, but this is a man who constantly inserts himself into situations where there are women all around. So I would not be surprised if Trump, in the last stage of his political career, is doing stuff with Laura Loomer. And again, that's somebody that I don't really jump to conclusions like that, but some of those photos are pretty damaging. We know that him and Melania haven't slept in the same bed since 2005.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What do you make of that? I mean, Melania has been nowhere near Donald Trump. Same thing with Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. They haven't been anywhere seen around Donald Trump publicly. Melania Trump is making public appearances for her new book that has just come out. What do you make of this and the fact that Melania Trump is nowhere to be found? Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but the only public appearance she's made in the last year with Donald Trump, I believe, was the Republican National Convention.
Yeah, I think she went to his rally last night to promote her book, but she didn't actually like make an appearance. He just called her out. I believe she was there. I'm not sure. I read that somewhere. But I think that number one, she made this really weird post yesterday about her nude work in the past, and there's a whole rabbit hole we can dig down there. She claims that liberals are the party that are against self-expression when Republicans constantly attack college-age kids who dye their hair or whatever they want to do. But either way, Melania posting that was a very intentional headline grab, in my opinion. The one thing the Trump family knows how to do is grab headlines. So she knows 50 days out until the election, I can grab these headlines. In the same way that Trump started a crypto business with his sons 50 days out from the election, they're grifting their asses off right now. And I think that Melania and Trump have a very unique, weird relationship, because if you compare their relationship to Obama and Michelle, very clearly a real family, very clearly real love there. And when you compare that to Melania and Trump, it's just this very manufactured, superficial love where Melania is very clearly trying to distance herself from the Trump campaign. So I think it's just a really superficial relationship, and Melania didn't expect to get thrusted into this limelight, whereas Michelle probably realized, my husband is smart, he's going to go into politics. Melania got thrusted in the spotlight. Now she hates her life, and she's trying to grift off of it to the last penny. So
tend to agree with that. If you're just joining us, Adam Mockler from MeidasTouch, a great follow on social media, great YouTube page. So Adam, you probably have been to 50 more Trump rallies than I have. But when I go to Trump rallies, I went to one last week in Las Vegas. You see all sorts of weird, bizarre things. I'm just walking around with a camera and somebody shouts out, Michelle Obama has a penis. I see somebody else with a sign that says sex traffickers should go to jail for life. And then I asked that individual, do you think liable sexual abusers should go to jail for life? And he says yes. Has no idea that Donald Trump has been found liable for sexual abuse. I mean, the signs and the stupidity of people that I ran into. I mean, you probably see this on a daily basis. What is it like for somebody like you to be going to these rallies on a regular basis for people that don't know or unaware of what it would be like?
You know, it's like a QAnon fair, like the QAnon State Fair. And I went to my first MAGA rally over a year ago. And I remember it was my first time meeting the cameramen too in Ohio. It was before the Iowa caucuses, my bad. And we were in Iowa and we were chatting. And I remember we were having breakfast before and we were like, there's no shot these people are actually that deranged. In the first interview we did, this lady starts defending slavery and said that black people should have been grateful to be in this country. The second interview we did, this lady says that Donald Trump is controlling Joe Biden, but Joe Biden is responsible for inflation and all the bad things. Trump is responsible for the good things. She said the white hats are controlling him. I never heard the white hats. So afterwards, my cameraman and I looked at each other like, wow, that was an insane event. And ever since then, they've gotten crazier and more violent. Mike Lindell yells at me. Brian Glenn yells at me. Yeah, I think that it is like Trump is like a QAnon uncle, that crazy QAnon uncle who has a direct line to millions of other QAnon people in this country who are, one, impressionable, two, trust Donald Trump, everything he says, and he abuses that trust to float conspiracy theories about AI. So I find it disgusting that this is like the QAnon final boss in the video game, Donald Trump on that final level. And yeah, he's injecting these conspiracy theories into people who trust him, in the homes of people who trust him. It's wild.
So it's interesting you mentioned Brian Glenn. My understanding is he still dating Marjorie Taylor Greene? That's my
I
first
think
question.
so.
So I ran into Brian Glenn last week,
Mhm.
and my interaction with him was a little bit different, right? I wanted to interview him. He said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't do it." And then I said, "Okay, the cameras are off." He knew who I was, but he was very nice. Actually, I was surprised. I asked him about Laura Loomer, and as we know, Marjorie Taylor Greene got into it with Laura Loomer, and they
Mhm.
both got into each other. And he said a lot of disparaging things about Laura Loomer, and he actually was willing to me privately to call out Donald Trump for inviting Laura Loomer. I feel like to the 9/11 ceremonies. I feel like some of these people, tell me if you agree, they're very different when the cameras are off. But publicly, they would never say the things about Donald Trump or even a Laura Loomer than they would say to me privately. Privately, he was very upset at Donald Trump. He was very upset at Laura Loomer, but you won't hear this guy on camera say any of those things, right?
It's not just the feeling you have. We can look at the Tucker Carlson text that got released during the Dominion lawsuit. Tucker Carlson is like the leading face of MAGA journalism, or he was at one point a while ago. And yeah, he was saying behind the scenes, I don't like Donald Trump. I want this to end. Sidney Powell is lying. All of these people knew behind the scenes that it was a fraud. And the only people that are actually conned are Rudy Giuliani, I think actually believes all that BS. Mike Lindell actually believes all that BS. And I think Trump surrounds himself intentionally with people who are sniffing their own glue. Is that an analogy or whatever? People that are genuinely so caught up in their own lies that they believe them. I think Trump intentionally inserts those people in his life. So, yeah, many of the normal people, not to say that Tucker Carlson's normal, but he knows that he's
Sure.
BSing. I mean,
Yes,
Tim Pool
right.
knows that he's BSing. These people who
Mhm.
take money from Russia, they know. I think most of them are cool. I saw this clip the other day of Sean Hannity and Gavin Newsom kind of doing a handshake. And it seems like I've read an article too that affirms this. They're genuinely friends behind the scenes. Gavin Newsom and Sean Hannity are actually pretty good buddies in the same way that Lindsey Graham and Joe Biden were actually pretty good buddies. My point is, I think politicians low key don't believe most of the stuff
Yeah.
they say.
Adam, let's talk a little bit about this second attempted assassination of Donald Trump and what we're hearing from the right there. Now, everything from the left that I've seen has been, good statements such as "We're glad he's okay. We don't want violence." They're saying all the right things, whether it be Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, so on and so forth. And then we hear the same thing after we heard the same thing from the first attempted assassination. Trump's going to try to lower the temperature, lower the rhetoric. Within hours of the shooting, he's campaigning, trying to make money off of it. And then he starts attacking Kamala Harris again, calling her a communist and a Marxist. There you have J.D. Vance hours before saying we need to lower the temperature. We got to stop calling people communists. We got to stop. And then literally a few hours later, Donald Trump is blaming the left for the attempted assassination. We know that the first shooter was a registered Republican, the 20-year-old. We know that this guy voted for Trump in 2016, and lately, at least in the last year, was a big supporter of a Nikki Haley possible Vivek Ramaswamy ticket.
Yep.
Why are they still blaming the left? And I always hear this, Adam. I hear they. And when Republicans say they're trying to kill Donald Trump, we know what they're referring to. They're referring to Democrats. Why do they keep doing this when there's no evidence to back that up?
Yeah, and even if we put aside the fact that the two shooters weren't even Democrats, I mean, they're trying to gaslight us. Republicans are trying to gaslight us into thinking we're using inflammatory rhetoric when Donald Trump's entry into American politics was coming up with conspiracy theories about Barack Obama. In 2016, he had the RNC chanting, "Lock her up," which was unprecedented in American politics. He made up lies about widespread election fraud. I mean, over and over, Trump has been divisive at every single turn. When Paul Pelosi was attacked, they were making jokes about it. Not only Don Jr., but Donald Trump himself was saying, "Oh, Nancy's wall didn't work." And you contrast that with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz or even Biden. They call Trump to make sure that he's okay. Everybody posts stuff saying, "Hey, we need to make sure he's okay." And it's really funny because Kamala Harris and Tim Walz were giving a speech like a month back, and the crowd started chanting, "Lock him up, lock him up." They both shut down the chant separately. Kamala said, "We don't do that here. We trust the courts. We just vote." And Tim Walz quiets the whole crowd down, very intentionally making sure they're not being divisive. And then, yeah, Trump made a Truth Social post the other day that said something to the effect of like, the wicked communist Democrats and Comrade Kamala and the rigged ABC News are acting divisive. And it's like, can you read that sentence back to me? He's saying that the rigged media, the communist Democrats, they're being divisive. So yeah, it's mind-blowing. They're gaslighting us.
Ridiculous. Adam, do you think that there's going to be another presidential debate?
No, I think it's no, not smart for Trump. Well, I highly doubt it. I think Trump needs one to try to come back and look normal. I think Kamala is the one who shouldn't be pressing for more, because I know that Kamala would be able to wipe the floor with them, but she's shown all that she needs to show. She should
Yeah.
probably be like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, I tend to think you're probably right on that one. Look forward to the vice presidential debate,
Oh, yeah.
which will be coming up. That should be interesting. I like Tim Walz a lot, and I think he's going to wipe the floor clean with a very weird JD Vance. I think we would both agree on that one. Adam, I love what you guys do at MeidasTouch. You know, Ron Filipowski's on this show a lot. I was just speaking with Ben the other day. Love what you guys do. Please keep up the great work. You're a great follow. Love your YouTube page, and that's why you have so many subscribers, because you do a great job, and always appreciate it when you take the time to join us. Thank you so much, Adam.
Always love hopping on, Brian. We'll do it again before the election.
All right.
Multiple times.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. Welcome back anytime. That's Adam Mockler, everybody, from MeidasTouch. Great follow on social media. Does a great job on YouTube, just exposing really how ignorant some of these MAGA supporters are. And I really